literally to kill or make void. Like we say, animal killing is shunyata. So we avoid that. One of the regulative principles, animal slaughter, which is animal eating, shunyata. So shunya means to kill or make void. So in the language, when they say shun, means it's like making a full stop. We say, stop and listen to this. Shun means listen. It's like getting the attention of the person. So he says, Shun Mahashai. He addresses him very respectfully, Mahashai, sir, my dear sir. Tomare chodibo kintu khare raja bhai. I'm willing to release you, but I'm afraid of the government. Well, the jailkeeper thought he would be punished if it was found out that he'd released him for any reason. Yeah. Because previously, the Nawab had a great faith in Sanatana Goswami as his minister, and he liked him also. So when Sanatana Goswami, like we say, someone doesn't go to school, in English we say they played truant. This expression means, like if a boy or girl, they skip from school, they don't go into the school on a certain day, and the parents or the teachers think that's a very bad thing, So Sanatana Goswami, without telling the Nawab, he left his government service and he was staying with these Brahmins, and he was discussing Srimad Bhagavatam with them. And Nawab didn't know where he was, and he was very upset, and he finally found he was in this place, and he came there, just came in one day, and everybody stood up in respect, because after all he was the king of Bengal. And he said to Sanatana, why are you not coming? Why have you suddenly disappeared from me? I'm very dependent on you, because I'm going on, the king was going on missions to the south, down to the south into Orissa for fighting, for conquering different regions. And so he was leaving the government service in the hands of Sanatana Goswami, a very capable person. And he said, I really need your help, And Sanatana didn't really say anything, but he didn't return to his service. That's why he had him arrested and put in the jail. And he said, I'm going away now on a mission, and I'll think what to do with Sanatana Goswami when I come back. So that's why Sanatana had to get out of the jail quickly before he came back. So he was praising and bribing the jailer. And the jailer said, I'll release you, but I'm afraid of the government. But Sanatana said, Tumi nakar raja bhai, takkina gijachi joti luti ayai. Tanhare khayo se bhaya kritte gela, gangar nikot ganga dheki jumpa dila. There's no danger. The Nawab has gone to the south. If he returns, tell him that Sanatana went to pass stool near the bank of the Ganges, and that as soon as he saw the Ganges, he jumped in. He escaped. In other words. Huh? He escaped, yeah. How you say in Spanish? Escape. Huh? Miro. Tell him, I looked for him for a long time, but I couldn't find any trace of him. He jumped in with his shackles, and therefore he was drowned and washed away by the waves. The shackles on his feet or hands, they're heavy, iron, made of iron. So if he jumped in the Ganges, he will drown. He'll go in the bottom. So this Sanatana is telling the jailer, this is what you tell to the Nawab. And then he won't punish you. It's not your fault. Kichu bhai nohi, ami ei deshe noroba, toraveshahana ami makkaki jaiba. There's no reason for you to be afraid, for I shall not remain in this country. I shall become a mendicant and go to the holy city of Mecca. In Arabic it's Makkah, Makkah. Mecca is the holy city of Islam. Mecca, yeah. It's not where the Prophet was born, Muhammad, the Prophet Muhammad. Not his birthplace. It was where the first mosque was made. And this where the Kaaba, the black box, and they all go around. That's Mecca. So a pious Muslim is supposed to go once a life, at least once in their life. They go on Hajj. Hajj. It means a pilgrimage to Mecca. Usually they wait till they're married, or they have some money or some good job or position, then they go on Hajj. So, and the word he used here, Daravesh, is a Muslim mendicant. It's called a Daravesh. Like we would say mendicant or a sannyasi or sadhu, a holy person who's wandering around. They say Daravesh. Sanatana Goswami could see that the mind of the meat eater was still not satisfied. He then stacked 7,000 gold coins before him. They use in Bengali for meat eater, javan. Sometimes they use the word mlech. Mlech, it means, but mlech means, it does mean meat eater, but it means more like somebody who doesn't follow any Vedic principles. And the one very important Vedic principle is not to avoiding cow killing. So that's a mlech. But another word in general for meat eater specifically is yavan. The yavan. Yavan. Javana. Yeah. And yeah. So Srila Prabhupada, in some other place in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there's a list of the different races, of the world. These races of human beings, they're coming originally from Lord Brahma. So he created the human beings, right? And then, first of all, he created the Manus. And these are Manus with the word man, comes from Manu. Man, Manu. So they're the progenitors. They create the races of beings. So there's so many races, right? 400,000 human species. So there's so many which are mentioned in the Bhagavatam, and a lot which aren't mentioned. But one of them is Yavan, and that he mentions there, Srila Prabhupada specifically refers to Turkish, the Turks, or those living in that area. So the jailer was somewhat satisfied, but he was still wavering. He wasn't convinced. So then Sanatana Goswami put 7,000 gold coins. First he gave 5,000, and he was somewhat, to convince him, he put 7,000 coins to him. When the meat eater saw the coins, he was attracted to them. He then agreed, and that night he cut Sanatana's shackles and let him cross the Ganges. In this way, Sanatana Goswami was released. However, he was not able to walk along the path of the fortress. Obviously, the prison was in the fort, in the castle. Walking day and night, he finally arrived at the hilly tract of land known as Patada. There he met a landholder and submissively requested him to get him across that hilly tract of land. Obviously, he doesn't know the country, he's not familiar with it. and it can be very dangerous for bandits, and no police force. So you have bandits, dacoits, they can rob you, steal your money, maybe kill you also. So he asked to the land owner to help him. But, so this was in a hotel, right? And the hotel owner, but somebody was staying at the hotel at that time, and he was a Jyotishi, expert in astrology. Yeah, but but specifically palm. Yeah, astrology, but specifically palmistry. This man, yeah, palmista. So he had some ability, maybe siddhi, or I don't know, some ability, intuition. He understood that Sanatan had money, or his servant had money with him. So he told the landlord, this astrologer, Inha Thani, he told him secretly to the landlord, Ihana Thari Suvanera Ashta Maharahoy Shuni Anandita Bhuna Sanatani Kai. This man, Sanatan, possesses 8 gold coins. Hearing this, the landlord was very pleased and then spoke to Sanatan Goswami. Ratriye Parvat Par Koriba Nija Lokodiya Bhojana Koraha Tumi Randana Kariya. I shall get you across the hills at night with my own men. Now just cook for yourself and take your lunch. So obviously this hotel was self-catering. Maybe they didn't provide food, or they did, it doesn't say, but their facility for you can cook in the kitchen. Because obviously different pilgrims or people were staying there. So some would be Muslim, some would be Hindu, so it's like different food, So even Srila Prabhupada, he said, when he was a boy in Calcutta, and they used to live all together next to each other, Muslims, Hindus. They weren't like separated, And they were very friendly, very friendly. And they would do even festivals, they would do together. But only the food arrangements were different. The Muslim would have their kitchen, pots, everything separate. And then the other ones, Hindus or Vaishnavas. The British made a lot of more problems.
She said there is still some of that separation in India.
Yes, I know, because the British government made partition, and that made it worse, Muslims, Hindus. They put all the Muslims in Bangladesh and Pakistan on 2 sides, and then the Hindus in the middle. It's a very bad situation. It caused a lot of problems as well. Anyway, India got independence, partly because of that situation. But so then the landlord he gave grains to Sanatan Goswami to cook. Then Sanatan went down to the river and took his bath. Nadi Shnan, bathing in the river. It doesn't say which river, it wasn't the Ganga, I think. Some river was there. Because Sanatan had been fasting for 2 days, he cooked the food and ate it. However, having formerly been a minister of the Nawab, he began to contemplate the situation. Ei bhuna kene more shaman korila eto chinti Sanatan ishani puchila. Because he had been working for the Nawab, he could understand politics and diplomacy, right? Like Chanaka Pandit said, never trust a politician. We know. Their business is saying something, but They won't do that. Making many promises, but doing something else or not. It's normal, actually, in politics. But so he knew this way of being. He was experienced. So he was immediately suspicious of the landlord. Why is the landlord showing me such respect? He doesn't know who is Sanatan. He's come there. At that time, Sanatan, he doesn't look like a gentleman. He's got long, straggly hair, beard. He looks like a Muslim. But of course he knows, the landlord knows he's Hindu, but he's offering him too much respect. In Bengali there's a proverb, which I forget the Bengali, but it says, Srila Prabhupada used to quote it, also Govinda Maharaj also quoted it, if someone is praising you too much, then they're going to cheat you. Yeah, don't trust them. You shouldn't trust them. So Sanatana Goswami thought that about the landlord. Why he's being so nice to me? I will give you men, I will help you in your journey, and I will give you grains, everything. So Sanatana Goswami, he talked to his servant. He had one assistant there, Ishana. It's the same name, right, as the servant in the house of Lord Chaitanya, Ishan. It's in the song we sing. Yeah. His name is also Ishan. And Tomar Thani Joni Kichu Dravya Ochai. Ishan kahe, Mor Thani Shotta Maharahai. Ishan, I think you have some valuable things with you. Ishan replied, yes, I have 7 gold coins. Hearing this, Sanatana Goswami chastised his servant, saying, why have you brought this death knell with you? Because if you in those days, if you going around the country with money, gold in your pocket, very dangerous. Peligroso. Yeah, he said, the word he used actually, there was a kala, yama. Yamaraj, and kala is time, time. So kala yama means, he's translated it, Prabhupada, death knell. Death knell means when someone is dead or dying, they boom, 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 in the old days on the bell, then everyone in the village will think, oh, someone has died, So he's saying, why have you brought this death knell with you? Thereupon Sanatana Goswami took the 7 gold coins in his hand and went to the landlord. And he, holding the coins before him, he spoke to him. E Shato Shuvana Mohar Achila Amar Ialana Dharma Deki Parvat Karapar. I have these 7 gold coins with me. Please accept them, and from a religious point of view, please get me across that hilly tract of land. So, he knows that the landlord is going to rob him and maybe kill him for this money. So he came up front and gave him the money. Said, here's the money I have, and now please help me, So they say in politics, sometimes the best way of defense is attack, right? If it's a difficult situation, and sometimes, you take the fight to the enemy, you attack. And how do you say it in Spanish? Maybe we say the best form of defense, to protect yourself, is attack. So in this way he gave the coins to the landlord. And Sanatana said, I'm a prisoner of the government and I cannot go along the way of the ramparts. It will be very pious of you to take this money and kindly get me across these hills. So the landlord didn't know who he was or where he came from. So he told him, I'm a prisoner of the government, I've escaped, in other words. So please take this money and help me to go. Bhuna hasi kahe, ami joni jachi pahile, ashta mohar hoy, tomar sevak anchale. Then the landlord said, Hasi, who's smiling, before you offered them, I already knew that there were 8 gold coins in your servant's possession. Tomar mari mohar, la itama ojikara ratriye, bhalla hoila, kahila tumi, chutilana papa haite. On this very night I would have killed you and taken your coins. It is very good that you have voluntarily offered them to me. I am now relieved from such a sinful activity. Can you understand?
Yeah.
Something. Everything or something.
Yeah. No,
Pretty good, yeah. Most of it.
Understand.
Good. I'm very satisfied with your behavior. I shall not accept these gold coins, but I will get you across the hilly tract of land simply to perform a pious activity. So he says, all right, I'll help you. Don't give me the coins. I'll help you anyway. But that wasn't good enough for Sanatan. Goshai kahe, kaya drovya laibe ama mari, amar prana raka, kara drovya ongikari. If you do not accept these coins, someone else will kill me for them.
He sent this to the landowner.
To the landlord, yeah.
But he wanted to kill him anyway. Why is he saying that now?
Who?
The landowner. Why is he saying, don't give it to me?
It doesn't say. Maybe his heart is changing, or maybe he's,
Kill him out.
But Sanatan said, no, please, you must take them. I want to get rid of them. But you better take them, because if I keep them, someone else can also kill me. Or, it is better that you save me from this danger by accepting the coins. Maybe Sanatan understood. He's saying that, But maybe if he knows I have the money, he could change his mind, They say you don't trust a snake, right?
The snake.
Dicen que uno no debe confiar en una culebra.
There's a story, right? The camel, he was in Spanish, the camel, he wanted to cross over the river.
Que hay una historia de un camello que quería cruzar el río.
But there was a scorpion.
Pero había un escorpión.
And the scorpion said to the camel, oh, I need to cross the river, but I can't swim, so please take me on your back.
Y el escorpión le dijo al camello, por favor, ayúdame a cruzar el río y llévame en tu palo.
And the camel said to the scorpion, but you're a scorpion. What happens if I'm halfway across the river and then you sting me?
Y el camello le dijo, pero tú eres un escorpión, si vamos cruzando el río y tú me puedes picar.
And the scorpion said, no, I wouldn't do that because I want to cross the river.
Y el escorpión dijo, no voy a hacer eso porque yo quiero cruzar el río también.
So halfway across the river, camel is swimming, and the scorpion stung him.
Y cuando iban a la mitad, el escorpión lo mordió.
And the camel said, oh, you said you wouldn't sting me. And then he was drowning. You said you wouldn't sting me. And the scorpion said, that is your nature to swim across the river and my nature to sting.
Y entonces el camello le dijo, ¿por qué me mordiste si tú me dijiste que no lo ibas a hacer? Entonces el escorpión le dijo, pero tu naturaleza es de nadar y la mía es de picar.
So, like that, he didn't trust the landlord. The landlord,
Y entonces de esa manera no confiaba en el dueño de
Yeah. They say if you give a snake milk and bananas, its poison would increase.
Que dicen que si tú le das a una culebra leche y bananas, el veneno incrementa.
Yeah. So he definitely wanted him to have the coins, you know.
Entonces Sanatana Goswami quería que el dueño de las tierras se quedara con las monedas de oro.
Pero no con la tierra.
No. Sanatana Goswami tenía un dinero y se enteró que tenía otros planes. Querían robarlo o matarlo para quitarse, entonces él se lo ofreció adelantado.
Yeah. You know, because it's like the nature of the person. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says every person is conducted by the modes of nature, sattva, rajas, tamas, right?
Que dice que en el Bhagavad Gita cada persona actúa de acuerdo a su naturaleza. Puede ser la ignorancia, la pasión y la bondad.
So he says everyone acts according to their nature.
Que cada uno actúa de acuerdo a su naturaleza.
So you can't suppress it. You can suppress it for some time, again it will come out.
Que puedes suprimir la naturaleza de alguien por un tiempo, pero vuelve a salir.
Oh. So when Arjuna was arguing with Krishna, complaining, oh, I don't want to fight because, and many reasons, Krishna said, no, you must fight. In the end, you will fight anyway.
Que cuando Arjuna no quería luchar en la batalla de Ch.Ch, Krishna dijo que tú sigas a luchar, esa es tu naturaleza, tú lo vas a hacer al final, aunque se estaba quejando que no lo iba a hacer.
Because your nature will impel you to do it.
Tu naturaleza va a hacer que lo hagas. Que eres un luchador.
So, so the landlord, he was a landlord of a hotel. You know, it means he's a mercantile man. He's for money, you know.
Entonces,
So
el dueño de la tierra es una persona comerciante, entonces siempre está calculando acerca del dinero.
So he's not like a Brahmin. So he's not interested, you know. He definitely will want the money, you know.
Él es como un brahman, simplemente un comerciante que va a querer el dinero.
Yeah. Okay, so they had this agreement. He gave him the coins, and then the landlord, he gave 4 men to go with Sanatana Goswami, and they went through the forest the whole night, and in this way they crossed that dangerous.
Y el dueño de las tierras le dio 4 hombres para que ayudara a Sanatana Goswami a cruzar para el otro lado. Pasaron por un bosque, una selva.
After crossing the hills, Sanatana Goswami told his servant, Ishan, I think you still have some balance left from the gold coins. And Ishan said, I still have 1 gold coin with me. And Sanatana said, take the money and go back to your home. He let him go, you know.
Que cuando iba con su sirviente Ishan, Sanatana Goswami, él dijo, yo todavía sé que tú tienes dinero. Entonces Ishan le dijo que sí tenía una moneda de oro. Entonces Sanatana Goswami le dijo, vete con tu familia. Yo que se espera con ese dinero.
So then Sanatana began travelling alone. He just had an old chadar and a water pot.
Que él empezó a viajar solo, Sanatana Goswami, con una cubierta vieja y una botellita un pote de
Yeah.
agua.
And he felt very happy
Y estaba muy
because
contento.
he was free. He had all money is gone and he's free. And
Se
he's
sintió muy feliz porque todo el dinero ya no tenía y estaba.
and he's going to meet Mahaprabhu.
Y iba en camino a encontrarse con Mahaprabhu.
Porque lo que ocultaba el dinero, ¿no? Tener eso encima, que corría peligro, ¿no?
Claro. Pero era un renunciante.
So he walked for a long time, and then he arrived at a place called Hajipur. And he went into a garden there, a nice flower garden, and he sat down. So then, living in this place, Hajipur, was Sanatana Goswami's, what's the husband of your sister? Is that brother-in-law? No. The husband of your sister. That's your brother-in-law. Okay, so living in that place, Hajipur, was the husband of Sanatana Goswami's sister.
In that town.
Yeah.
Entonces que en ese pueblo vivía el esposo de la hermana de Sanatana Goswami. En ese pueblo donde estaba él.
The brother-in-law, is it?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. His name was Srikanta.
Y su nombre era Srikanta, no de Vashish.
Where did you get that from?
Because you asked me, what's the name of your brother?
Oh, your one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. So this Srikanta, he was still engaged in the government, service of the government, Muslim government.
Que Srikanta, su cuñado, estaba todavía trabajando para el gobierno musulmán. Porque Sanatana Goswami antes trabajaba para el gobierno musulmán.
And he had 300,000 gold coins in his possession.
Who?
Srikanta.
Que Srikanta tenía 300 monedas de oro.
Yeah. And
en su posesión.
And this was money deposited with him by the Nawab, the king, to buy horses
Y ese dinero era,
for his army.
se lo había dado el rey para comprar caballos para el ejército del rey.
So he was his job was to buy the horses and send them to the emperor. To
Y
the
su
coast.
servicio, su trabajo era comprar caballos y enviárselos al ejército, al emperador.
So they met together, and they had many conversations, Srikanta and Sanatana.
Ellos se encontraron y tuvieron muchas conversaciones. Srikanta y Sanatana.
Yeah, and Sanatana told him all the story about how he left the government, got in the prison, how he escaped, everything. Then
she's asking why was Sanatana Goswami in prison.
Oh, we mentioned that because remember we mentioned before he left his service and he was staying in the house of some Brahmins and discussing Srimad Bhagavatam.
Que él dejó el trabajo y se fue a hablar
because he heard about Lord Chaitanya. He heard Lord Chaitanya had taken sannyas and left Navadvip. And he wanted to meet him, and he was. Right, because it's in the pastimes in Leela, he's eternal servant of Lord Chaitanya.
So the Nawat was not happy that he wanted to do the service.
No, he liked Sanatana Goswami.
He was a minister, right?
Yeah, because he was taking care of the home affairs of the government while the king was free to go on his mission, fighting.
Un trabajo muy importante para el rey, él era ministro, y él cuidaba todos sus asuntos cuando el rey se iba a otros lugares. Entonces tenía una posición muy importante en el gobierno. Cuando él decidió dejar eso, no le gustó al Nawab.
Yeah, because Sanatana Goswami was very capable, very intelligent.
Que él era muy inteligente, muy capaz de muchas.
Even though when he was in the service of the government, it says that he adopted Muslim customs.
Y cuando él estaba trabajando con los musulmanes, él adoptó algunas de las costumbres de los musulmanes.
That means, you know, like having a beard, wearing the different clothes. We don't know about the diet, if he was non-veg or veg. We don't know. It doesn't say. But when he came to Mahaprabhu later, he was saying, I'm very fallen. He called himself Ch.Ch Jati, means a very low-born person. Because of that association. But actually it wasn't true. His family were from South India. They were Carnatic Brahmins. Carnatic, yeah. Yeah, and that's why the Nawab. That's why he's a very good worker, and the Nawab liked him. And he was very upset when he left.
And he put him in jail because of that.
Yes, but only he temporarily put him there while he was travelling and doing on his fighting mission, and he said, I will decide what to do with him when I come back.
Porque lo puso en la prisión mientras que el rey se fue a luchar en otro lugar y dijo que cuando regresaba iba a decidir qué iba a hacer con él.
Okay.
Y por eso que Maharaj explicó lo que pasó, el incidente de cuando él estaba en la prisión, que le dio dinero al guardia para que lo dejara ir y que pretendiera que se había ahogado en el Ganges. Y entonces de ahí fue cuando empezó la historia de que lo que se estaba leyendo.
So Srikanta and Sanatana, they're talking many things.
Estaba Maharaj diciendo que Srikanta, que es el cuñado de Sanatana Goswami, se encontraron y estaban hablando de Mahaprabhu y cosas.
And Teno kahe, Dina Dui Roha E Sthane, Madrahao Choda E Molina Vashane. Vashana means dress. So Srikanta advised him, stay here for a few days and you know, change your dress and, you know, tidy yourself up.
Que Srikanta le aconsejó que se quedara por varios días y que cambiara su vestimenta, que su apariencia, que mejorara.
Yeah. But Goshai kahe, ek chana iya na rahiba, ganga para kari deha ek chane chaliba. Sanatan said, I shall not stay here even for a moment, never mind a few days. Please help me cross the Ganges. I want to leave immediately.
Que Sanatana Goswami dijo, no voy a poder estar aquí ni un momento. Ayúdame a cruzar el Ganges.
This is when the soul is seeking for God very intensely.
Que eso pasa cuando el alma está buscando desesperadamente, intensamente a Dios.
He can't waste time on anything,
No puede perder tiempo en nada.
So then Srikanta gave him a blanket, like a decent, chadar, and he helped him to cross the Ganges.
Que Srikanta le dio una chada bien bonita, bien cara, y lo ayudó a cruzar el Ganges.
So then after a few days more travelling, he arrived in Benares, Sanatan.
Y después de varios días de viaje, llegó a Benares.
A todas estas el rey no sabía que él había.
She's saying, did the king know, or he knew, he thought that he was dead? The king thought that he was dead.
We don't know, because what he said, Sanatan told the jailer this story, to tell the story that I went to the Ganges to do my ablutions, and I jumped in to escape. But I think that I drowned, you know.
Que él cuando se escapó de la prisión le dijo al guardia, como le pagó, le dio dinero, le dijo que le dijera al rey que él había ido al Ganges a hacer sus oraciones y que se había tirado al Ganges, que le dijera eso al rey. Entonces a lo mejor el rey pensaba que él se había ahogado, que se había ahogado, no sabía nada de la historia de Dios.
Because the Vaishnavas, you know, they're very merciful. He didn't want the jailer to be punished, because he would be punished if he's allowed him to escape.
Y si el guardia deja que se escapara, el Sanatana es muy compasionado, muy misericordioso y no quería que lo castigaran al guardia. Por eso le dijo eso.
It's same like Haridas Thakur, when he was being whipped by the soldiers, and he pretended to be dead, so they throw him in the Ganges, you know.
Que había otra historia de Haridas Thakur, cuando le estaban dando latigazos, él pretendía que no le dolía.
Because,
para que los
yeah, because the king ordered the soldiers who beat him through 22 marketplaces. Obviously, after that, someone's going to be dead, right? How could you tolerate 22 marketplaces beating you? You would be dead. So,
esta es una historia de Haridas Thakur, otra gran personalidad, que en esta ocasión el rey había ordenado que le dieran latigazos en 22 mercados o diferentes lugares.
so if the soldiers didn't kill him, why what?
Why did the king order to?
Oh, because he wouldn't stop chanting Hare Krishna.
Porque él no paraba de cantar Hare Krishna. Y el rey was a Muslim ruler.
Yeah.
Y el rey era un rey musulmán.
Yeah.
También.
Yeah, and so he pretended to be dead,
Y él pretendía que estaba ya muerto.
and then the soldiers threw his body in the Ganga.
Y los soldados tiraron el cuerpo de Haridas Thakur en el Ganges.
And he floated along, and he came eventually, after some time, he came onto the bank. He come up.
Y él flotó en el Ganges y eventualmente llegó a la orilla del Ganges.
And then he came out, and he met Lord Chaitanya and embraced with him.
Él salió del Ganges y encontró a Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu y lo abrazó.
And they say all the marks, the beating on his body, they disappeared, and they come on the body of Mahaprabhu.
Que cuando Mahaprabhu lo abrazó, todas sus heridas de los latigazos se desaparecieron y aparecieron en el cuerpo de Mahaprabhu.
Yeah, Mahaprabhu took
Tomó
his dear devotee.
su devoto querido.
Because when Haridas Thakur, passed away, then Mahaprabhu said, the jewel on the head of the, nagas, nagas, snake, they have a jewel on the head, and this jewel is giving light. Because in the Naga Loka, is down in the bottom of the universe, there's sun light, it can't reach to there.
Why are you mentioning the Naga snake?
I'm going to tell you in a minute, just say that.
Que dice que hay unas culebras en los planetas
Sutteranio.
En los planetas subterráneos, unas culebras especiales que tienen una joya en la cabeza, que es la que ilumina el lugar porque es oscuro. Se llaman Naga, serpientes Naga.
Yeah. So when Haridas Thakur passed away, Lord Chaitanya was dancing with him, holding his body.
Que cuando Haridas Thakur abandonó su cuerpo, Mahaprabhu estaba bailando. Dancing, he was dancing.
Dancing, yeah.
Dancing con su cuerpo, o sea, cantando más o menos.
And Hare Krishna, chanting kirtan. And he said, the jewel on the head of this world has departed. Chudamani means the jewel on the top.
Y dijo que la joya de este mundo ha desaparecido. The jewel of this world.
The jewel on the head of this world.
La joya,
the crown jewel, crown jewel.
De la cabeza de este mundo.
We say crown jewel means that, the top.
she's asking, did Haridas Thakur left his body when Mahaprabhu embraced him?
No, this was later on,
No,
after that.
eso fue después. Eso fue después.
Yeah, because and if you think about it, actually, in those days, it was, very strong casteism, Hindu caste,
En esos tiempos, el sistema de las castas, Brahmana, Kshatriya, era muy fuerte.
Yeah, and these castes, they're not mixing at all with each other. Generally Vaishya with the Vaishya, Shudra, Shudra, Brahmin with Brahmin, like this. So, Lord Chaitanya was from a Brahmin family. His mother, Ch.Ch. Devi, was the daughter of Nilambara Chakravarti, who's a mother, Madre.
No, Ch.Ch. Devi is the daughter.
Yeah, was the daughter of Nilambara Chakravarti, who was a famous Brahmin and very high, family, and also the father, Jagannath Mishra, was also so. Yeah. So you can imagine Haridas Thakur was like outcast. He was. Yeah. He was. So some people, we don't know, but some people say he was born a Muslim, or some people say he was an orphan when he was very small, and he was brought up by Muslim family. So Mahaprabhu, to be holding his body and dancing was like shocking, for the people. It was shocking for the people, the caste Brahmins, they would. That's why they hated Mahaprabhu, the caste Brahmins. Yeah, because they said he's ruining the Hindu religion. Because everybody, caste or no caste, no distinction, everybody can chant Hare Krishna. Sin ninguna discriminación ni distinción. But they thought, this Hare Krishna and all the mantras are property of the Brahmins. Yeah. So you can't just give it to everybody like that. So, but Haridas Thakur was special because he was very humble. He lived in a cottage in the forest. Why will they not want them to give out the holy name to others? Was that due because they were because they were selfish? But it's because they were porque eran de otra casta diferente. Yeah, because eso pertenecía a ellos, a esa casta particular. Yeah. No lo querían distribuir a otros porque ese sistema está dividido. Yeah, because religion. Because religion is their job. We are doing religion, and we it's only if you want to have mantra or spiritual thing, you have to come to us. Porque los brahmanas pensaban que la religión es solo de ellos, pertenece a ellos, y si alguien quiere algo de religión tiene que ir hacia ellos. And also we are doing functions and yagyas, and you're giving dakshina, and this way they are living,
Y entonces cuando ellos hacen sacrificios, fuegos, ceremonia de fuego, algunas ceremonias,
Marriage, funerals,
funerales,
birthdays,
todo ese
everything.
tipo de ceremonias rituales, ellos recibían un tipo de como recompensa o pago, y así de esa manera ellos era su manutención.
Yeah.
Is that why they didn't want that, to lose that?
Yes.
Exacto. No querían perder ese tipo de... No quieren...
Yeah. It's just, we say the living entity, the jiva soul, conditioned soul, right? It's got four propensities, right? Eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, right? So, defending is one of them. That means if we have our thing,
you say in the beginning
the conditioned soul, all conditioned souls, have four propensities: eating, sleeping.
Cuatro características: comer, dormir,
Maituna means sex, like. Yeah.
Te voy enseñándome y yo no sé nada.
No, pero que tiene cuatro, comer, lo que hacen todas las almas condicionadas. Comer, dormir, no sé cómo se llama eso.
Conjugar.
Casarse, exacto, algo así.
Yeah. And defending.
Y defenderse.
Comer, dormir, casarse y defenderse.
So defending means.
Reproducción.
Yeah, okay.
Eso es de todas las almas condicionadas.
So defending means everyone has their area, their space. So they have to defend that.
Tiene su área para defenderse.
So if someone will try to come in or take that, they will defend it. That's normal.
Esa es una característica de defenderse. Si alguien quiere entrar, entonces tienen que proteger esa área.
So the Brahmins, they want to protect their field, they don't.
Los brahmanas querían proteger su área.
Y a todas estas después sí pudo Sanatana Swami cantar el santo nombre abiertamente, tranquilamente, sin que el rey ya lo tuviera.
She said after that, after he was beaten up and all that,
Haridas Thakur.
was he able to continue chanting?
Haridas Thakur.
Yes.
Yeah, of course, he always continued.
He continued, but in a different location, right? In a different place.
Yes, he probably moved. And he's the Namacharya. He's the Namacharya Haridas Thakur. Because he teaches how to continuously chant the holy name without stopping. Yeah. He's chanting 3 lakhs a day, they say. That's 1 lakh is 64 rounds.
Un lakh es 64 rondas.
So it's about 300,000 names, Hare Krishna, every day. So we think we think that if this is to be possible, it's not all that he's chanting verbally, Hare Krishna. Some is verbal and some also mentally, like. And so the famous story about the prostitute,
Que hay una historia muy famosa acerca de una prostituta que fue mandada por el rey para masturbarlo.
So there was a landlord living that owned the land where Haridas Thakur was living in his hut.
Que había un propietario de una tierra donde Haridas Thakur tenía su pequeña casa, choza, donde cantaba.
And the landlord is a Muslim man.
Y el dueño de la tierra era un musulmán.
So he couldn't tolerate, Haridas Thakur is always chanting the name of a Hindu god, Hare
Y él
Krishna,
no toleraba que Haridas Thakur estaba cantando todo el tiempo los nombres de un dios hindú.
yeah, and he's getting a reputation as a peer, holy man, and many people are coming to see him.
Y estaba agarrando una reputación de ser un hombre santo, y entonces mucha gente venía a verlo.
So he wanted to destroy his reputation.
Entonces ese propietario de esas tierras quería destrozarle, arruinarle, defamarle su reputación.
So he went to the place, I don't know where there are prostitutes or some,
Él fue a un lugar donde buscó una prostituta.
and the best one, the most beautiful one,
La mejor, la más bonita.
he told her, you go at night time, you go to the place of Haridas Thakur, and you tempt him, make him fall down, you know.
Entonces le dijo a la prostituta que fuera allí en la noche y que tratara de encantarlo o ¿cómo se dice? Ay, no me acuerdo. Sí, algo así.
Right. So that night time, she went to his place and she waited, by the, on the side, and she's looking very nice and showing her body and all that to him,
Entonces fue y se estuvo ahí cerca de él, mostraba su cuerpo y trataba de.
And then she started to flatter him so much. Oh, you are so young, so beautiful. If I cannot have union with you, then I have to leave my body immediately.
Entonces empezó a alabarlo y a decirle que tú eres una persona joven. Si no estás conmigo, entonces voy a dejar mi cuerpo. Voy a morirme, voy a.
Right. So he said he was chanting. He was
Él
chanting,
estaba cantando.
and he said to her, "Okay, it's no problem. I will fulfill your desire, but I have to finish my rounds."
Que le dijo que no importa, espérate, voy a terminar mi ronda. Está bien, no importa, espérate, voy a terminar de cantar mi ronda y después te voy a complacer tu deseo. Wow.
Right. So just wait there, and
Espérate.
I will finish, and then. So all the night he's chanting all night,
Entonces toda la noche cantó, cantó y cantó y cantó y cantó y cantó.
and she's waiting, and then the dawn is coming, the sun is rising up,
Y él está amaneciendo.
and he said, "I'm very sorry, I still didn't finish,
Y le digo, lo siento mucho, todavía no he terminado. Wow.
but come back tomorrow night."
Pero ven mañana a la noche.
So the next night she came back, and the same thing happened.
Y la siguiente noche regresó y pasó lo mismo, exactamente lo mismo.
And the third night, when she came there and he was chanting, her whole, she changed, completely changed.
Y esa tercera noche cuando ella vino, había cambiado, era otra persona. Ella.
Yeah, is the power of hearing the holy name from a pure devotee.
El
Pure
poder
Vaishnava.
de oír el santo nombre de un devoto puro.
And she fell in his feet and she confessed everything. Oh, the man has sent me to thing, and and please forgive me. And
Entonces ella se fue, se rindió a sus pies y le confesó todo, que la habían mandado para hacer eso y que por favor la perdonara.
and she said, please bless me with the holy name. Give me the holy name.
Y le digo, por favor, dame tus bendiciones con el santo nombre. Dame el santo nombre.
So like that, he kind of initiated her, and he said, you stay here in this place, and I will go somewhere else, and you can live here.
Entonces él le dijo a ella, entonces tú quédate aquí, le digo el santo nombre, tú quédate aquí, canta el santo nombre y él se iba a otro lugar.
Right? And that prostitute, she got rid of all her jewelry. She wore just a white sari, shaved her head, and she was living in that place worshipping Tulsi.
Entonces ella se afeitó la cabeza, se puso un sari blanco, se dejó todas sus joyas y empezó a cantar el santo nombre y se quedó ahí a servir a Tulasi.
And constantly chanting her
Y
holy name.
constantemente cantar el santo nombre.
And she became famous. Many became very people coming to her. She was
Y
like,
ella se volvió muy famosa y venía mucha gente a verla y a oír de ella.
like Vishaka or something. No, it's true. Yeah.
Nunca había escuchado ese
So,
pasatiempo tan bonito. ¿Y cómo se llamaba ella?
She's asking her what was her name.
of that
She's
lady.
Natalie, isn't she? She's
No, that's
Natalie.
another one.
Really?
It isn't. Her name isn't given. Just said.
Ah, que su nombre no lo ha nombrado. No tiene ese nombre.
Muy bonito ese pasatiempo.
What a lovely story. Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Jai. Antaraj Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Okay.
Sripad Bhakti Tridandi Maharaj ki jai. What do you sing, Hari?
Chanting. Hari Hari Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha. Hari Hari Nama Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Bhaja Gopal Govinda Rama Shri Sudhana.
60.
Giddhi Dhadi Gopi Nata Madana Mohana. Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Jaladhara Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhakta Vinda. Jai Rup Sanatana Bhatta Raghuna. Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghuna. Chai Goshai Kori Charana Vanda. Chai Goshai Kori Charana Vanda. Jaha Hote Vigna Nasa Havishta Pura. Chai Goshai Jarmo Itarda. Panchabara Padariru Mora Panchaga. Otandra Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanneva. Janme Janme Hoye Abhilash. Chai Goshai Jabe Braje Koilabas. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Anande Bolo Hari Bhanja Vrindavan. Anande Shri Guru Vaishnava Bhade Ajayi Omam. Nam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi Hari 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 Om. Jai. 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 Jai.